not sure if anybody's in here yet, but I'm doing a mic check. Hopefully everything's going. I'll open up a screen here and look and listen. Looks like we're good on sound. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I know it's normally a delay of people getting in here, so I don't know what time to actually start it. I figured I'd start at 9:30, go to 9:45, and then, we're looking to take a trade at 10 a.m. So there's a half an hour in here where I was going to go over the rules, and I'll go ahead and do that here. So let me get off of this screen. And it looks like we're not going to be able to play that music I want to play. There's a bunch of ads, so still working on some music there. So you may have some ads. I'll cut that off here, actually, while we're getting ready. All right. So I think we're good to go. I'm going to jump right in on the rules. So here is an image of our rules for the strategy. This is gone over in a video I recorded last night. So I had someone last week ask me about the ORB strategy, or that's what they were doing, was an opening range breakout, struggling with it, struggling to make profit. Okay. So whenever I look at a strategy for someone, guys, basically every strategy out there works. It works in some form or fashion or another. It's just how well it works. If the strategy doesn't work well, then you need to make changes to it, okay? So not every strategy works well. Not every strategy works well on every instrument, okay? Not every strategy works the same in currency pairs as it does in indices or stocks or crypto. They don't all work the same in every market, okay? So once you realize that, you will realize that when you're looking at a strategy, you may need to open up and look at different instruments on that strategy. Find out what it works best on, okay? So when someone gives me not really a task, but when they ask me, hey, I'm trading this, does this work? In your opinion, it doesn't work. Guys, moving averages work. They work to an extent. You can profit off them as long as you know how and when to take the profit, okay? How and when to identify when that run is potentially over, okay? Now, we close partial. Closing partials is a big game changer. It was a huge game changer for me years ago. It's been a big game changer for several people in our Discord. I get people sending me messages all the time. There was one person that lost, well, there's been a couple, but that have lost thousands of dollars over the previous years of trading until they come in and they hear me talk about closing partial. Let's take profit. You're sitting here for a day of trading. You're here for one reason and one reason. You're not here to sit here and drink coffee with me all morning, okay? You're in here for one reason only. You're trading for one reason. It's to make money. I don't care what it's for. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if it's to buy a new house or, get your grandparents out of debt or, fly them into the country to live with you or, school, college, your kids, braces, whatever. It does not matter what the reason is. You're all here to make money. So when we sit down at the desk, I'm sitting here and I want to make money today. That's all I want to do. That's why I'm here. I mean, yeah, I'm sipping coffee and I'll throw some music on. But I'm here to make money. So when I started trading, I know that I'd get into a trade, 10 lots. I was trading Forex, 10 lots. It would move up. I'd risk $200. I'd see it move. I didn't have really profit targets, right? I'd see it move up and I wouldn't even move my stop to break even, or I might move my stop to break even and get stopped out, or I wouldn't move my stop at all. I'd be up $200, then I'd be up $300. And when I'm up $300, I wouldn't do anything. I'd just be like, okay, I want more. I want more. Let's go, let's go, let's go. And it would go up and it'd be $500. Risking 2 to make 500, that's huge. I wouldn't do a thing. I wanted more. It's going up. Surely it's going to keep going. It's going to keep going. If you start saying stuff like, I want it to go up, surely it can get there, things like that, the market doesn't care what you think. The market's not going to do what you want, okay? So you have to get that all out of your head. I started to close partial. I'm like, man, I've been up, $400 to $600 on trades only for it to go back. When's this big power trade I'm going to get that's going to bank me $1,000? That was it back in the day. When's this, I'm risking 200 to make 1,000. When's that trade coming? And it rarely came because most, as you know, the market moves in waves, back and forth, okay? So I started closing partials. So it would go up and hit 1-to-1 or 2-to-1, close out part of your trade, put on 10 lots, in this case for 4X, or 10 contracts if you're trading futures, and you would close out 8. I'd close out 8, move my stop to a break even, and then let the 2 runners go. That's what I developed out of that. Got tired of being in profit only to be in negative at the end of the day or break even. Sitting there for hours, being up, risking 200 to be up 400, 500, or 600, only to at the end of the day be at 0 or negative. Okay? Because I was trying to hold all day. I was like, okay, we'll just hold all day. So what we want to do is, here's the rules for this. I got to go over them real quickly because I want to get out before 9:45. Here's my rules for trading this during New York session. So as I looked back and went over, again, I've got the video. The video's in the link below this. The video link is below in this video description. It's the video I recorded last night. So basically, I traded this Friday, went with my twist on it, went out Saturday, got all the data, put together a slideshow, polished it up yesterday or finished it up, and I recorded it last night at like 1 o'clock in the morning and got done around 3, I think, 2:33, something like that, with everything, and then posted it, uploaded it, and I think it took about 3 hours to process and post in our group. So I know a lot of you haven't had a chance to watch it, and that's fine. So this is day 1 of our trading. We're actually going to, at 10 o'clock, I'm using the first half hour, but at 10 o'clock, we're going to look for trades, and we're going to see if it signals. This is going to be boring, okay? Not right now while I'm talking. Don't get bored. But when we're trading, it's going to be a little boring because we're only watching one instrument instead of typically I'm watching 4 or 5. So basically, we are trading the morning session from 10 a.m. to noon, okay? So we're looking for the high and the low from 9:30 to 10 a.m. Eastern. That's the start, the first half hour of the U.S. Stock Exchange, okay? We're only trading Nasdaq this week. I'm going to do this every day like this, okay? So we're going to do Nasdaq. This week, I've created a new paper account, okay, because I want to track this separate. So this is a paper account that I created last night. We're going to trade it all week. We're going to see where we're at the end of the week. On Nasdaq only, and we're only using 3 contracts at a time, okay? And I'll go over the rules. We're putting our stop at a halfway point between the high and the low. But between 10 and noon, we're going to take all signals, okay? Now, I'll show you how the indicator signals that I'm using. There's several out there for the ORB strategy. I'll show you when it re-signals, sends a second signal. So sometimes you won't get it, trigger a signal, but you'll have an entry. So we're going to take all trades. If we're in the positive between 10 and noon, that's it. That's it for me. That's how I ran the back test. If it was positive, if I was in the positive between 10 and noon, I was done. Okay? Then between noon and 4, U.S. stock market's still open. I'm calling this our redemption period. If you have no winning trades, you're only going to trade this redemption period. You're only going to trade if you've had no winning trades. in the morning session, and you're only going to take one entry. That's it. One entry. If you take 2 losses in the morning and you take a trade in the afternoon, if it happens to be a loss, you don't want to trade again. Most of the time, when I've never, and I only went back about 23 days, or not 23, about 33 days, but I had never seen it when you took 2 losses in the morning, it not pan out in the afternoon. Okay? Here's the reason why. We're trading a breakout, and I'll show you on the chart. But if the price goes up above a high and signals, that's our 945 mark, and signals a long, and you get in and it turns around, goes back and goes through the bottom of the range, signals a sell, well, you've lost on the buy, and then you're in a sell. If it pulls back to stop you out again at the halfway point, then you lost on the sell. What does that mean? Well, what that means is it went up, turned around, came down, turned around, went back up. What is that? It's a range. It barely broke the high, barely broke the low, didn't get to a profit target. It's a range. Well, what do we expect to happen? A breakout of a range, okay? So I know we're trading the morning or the first half hour opening range breakout, but that's only a half hour of data, okay? So that could be short-lived or may not happen for a while. So if we get those 2 losses in the morning, especially if we get a buy and a sell or a sell and a buy, that means it's a range. It's formed a range. It's bigger than just that first half hour. So we expect it to break out. When would it break out? Well, if it doesn't break out by noon, guess what? Noon to 4, 12 p.m. to 4, it typically will break out and run to at least profit target 1, if not 2, and beyond. So if you take a loss in the morning and get that gain in the afternoon, that winning trade in the afternoon covers your loss. You're a break-even day. If you happen to take 2 losses in the morning and take that winning trade in the afternoon, it's going to cover 1 loss. You're only down 1 loss for the day instead of 2. Okay? I'd rather be down 1 than 2, right? So that's my setup for taking the trades. We're going to buy when a candle closes above the opening range high. We're going to sell when a candle closes below the opening range low. Okay? Our targets. I'm going to use the profit target tool that is built into the indicator I have. It lays lines on the charts. I'm just going to use those. I'm going to put my stop at the halfway point. Now, you can experiment with this if you want. You can put your stop at quarter way down the range, half, 3/4, or all the way across the range. I don't recommend going all the way across the range or 3/4, and I don't recommend going quarter. You're going to get stopped out more often and have to scramble to get back in. So if you put your loss at a quarter stop loss, quarter of that box range, then you're going to take a lot more losses and you're going to have to take a lot more entries, okay, to trade for the day. And that's what happens to a lot of people. They get wicked out or stopped out with the stop to close. As far as management, when it hits profit target 1, we're going to close partial. I'm putting 3 contracts on, so I'm going to close 2. Every time it hits the first profit level, I'm closing 2. I don't care if the candle closes outside the range and is halfway to that profit target. I'm going to look to close 2. Okay, you have to get what you get, and you don't throw a fit. As far as moving the stop, we're going to trail the stop to 1 level back. So if it hits PT1, we're going to move the stop to break even. Hits PT2, we move the stop to... Actually, if it hits PT1, we're going to close partial because we're going to use pending order to do that. And then we'll move the stop to break even. If it closes past each other level, so closes past PT2, we will move our stop. Not if it hits it. Candle has to close, and we're using 3 minutes. That's moving the stop. End-of-day stuff, just stuff we do to track our trades and everything, okay? So something I created, we got about 12 minutes here, is this right here. As I looked at the strategy and went back and tracked, guys, this is real easy to look back and look back at previous data and previous days and see how the moves are. I mean, it's like a no-brainer. You don't really have to analyze anything. You have a tool on your chart that marks the ranges, during that session, and you'll see the profit target levels, and you could look back easily and see what kind of day you would have had if you traded. And that's what I did over the weekend. So again, in that video, I have all the stats there, as well as I went through replay and traded it just like that. Again, it was from April 27th, I think, or 23rd. I don't know, guys, till this past Friday, May 2nd. So I went through replay and traded it just that way. When it went and closed above the high, I would buy. Below the low, I would sell. 3 contracts. 2 contracts closed at the first profit level with the stop move to break even. At that point, you just sit. You can relax, okay? You can set alarms at the next take profit levels and be alerted when to move your stop. So what this is for is just tracking. So there's debate on what this strategy works best on, okay? Which one of the indices? So why not look at all 4? So I've looked at all 4. It seems like Nasdaq, it works the best because Nasdaq moves and hits at least the take profit 1, okay? So what we want to do is we're trading this week, we're starting today, is Nasdaq. What level does it hit? Now, I don't have in here to mark if we had to take 2 trades or 3 trades. I'm not really, actually I do, 2 trades, 3 trades right here. But I don't have where we're marking like we would have bought, and then we had a sell, and then we had, and that was it. What I have is Nasdaq. What profit level did it hit overall? Okay, obviously if it hits a loss, it hits none. So on your winning trade, how far did it go? What profit level did it hit? Okay. How many trades would you have had to taken today to get there? Did you take 1 trade and you hit and you were profitable for the day? Did it take 2 or did it take 3? If it took 3, was that 3rd trade during the redemption period? So this is redemption period. Okay. So what I want to do as I'm looking at these, I'm going to peek out the end of the day. We're only watching Nasdaq here. We got about 9 minutes, so I need to scoot. We're only watching and trading Nasdaq. However, I want to look at the end of the day. I want to pop to a quad chart, okay, my 4 charts that have Nasdaq, S&P, Dow, and Russell, and I want to look at them at the end of the day. You can easily, again, with this strategy, you can easily tell that, oh, S&P hit level 2 on the first trade. So no trading during the redemption period. Dow hit level 1 only, okay? And that was 2 trades that were taken, which means either the first one was profit as well, because again, we're taking every signal, and no redemption trading. Russell, it hit take profit 3. However, that was 3 trades, and we had to trade during the redemption period. So what's going to happen is later on, as I look, let's say after till the end of the month, you get the end of the month, and I see that this has a lot of redemption periods checked, but Nasdaq doesn't, and maybe, one of the other ones, let's see here, maybe ES has a lot of redemptions checked. I might not trade those. Why would I trade those? Why would I trade something that I have to wait and trade noon to 4 because I've taken those losses in the morning, okay? When I can trade the instrument that I don't have to trade that redemption period very long, okay? So that's how that's kind of laid out. This is just something I'm using to kind of track for the week, okay? So let's move out to the charts. Just bear with me. I got to move a couple screens around here, a couple windows. So again, the training video, this is day 1. Where's it at? I'm going to pop a link in the chat. So this is to the training video. It's posted again in the description. And there you have it. It's a good video to watch. Make sure to watch the whole thing. So it's already setting up right now. One thing I'm going to mark is you'll notice I marked 945. So we're looking for a high and a low, okay, of the session. All right. We're looking for a high. We're looking for a low. So far, it looks like this is going to be the high. We turn our magnet on. So far, it looks like that's going to be the high. And it looks like this is going to be the low as it stands right now. Okay. I'll leave the trade panel open. I have it set on the DOM so that when I click on the chart, it does not pull up the orders. If I click over here, you'll see that pop up. That is very annoying that pops up. You can close it, however, and I guess it stays off, so we can leave that. If you're using multiple charts, which I had on earlier, my quad chart, what happened was you click on another chart and it pops up again. So that's why I had that. So again, at the end of the day, I'm going to do this. At the end of the day, I'm going to have all four of these open or click to this chart. See how it pops up again? Let me go to DOM. So again, at end of day, yeah. Well, my button's not working. There we go. Sorry, guys. Let me get it together here. Everything's on a 3-minute. Nope, this is on a 1. Need to put everything on a 3. So again, at end of day, I'm going to look, and I'm going to see how these played out. Okay? Right now, we need to get back to Nasdaq. So again, we have, what do we got here? We got about 4 minutes left. So that looks like the high. That looks like the low. So again, we're going to, or I'm going to, get in with 3 contracts. Okay. I'm going to get in with 3 contracts. When price closes above the high, long, closes below the low for a short. That's our plan. Morning, John. Yeah, I had some things, a lot of things going on that took me away. So it's awesome to be back. So I know most people didn't get to watch the video. So here's what we're looking at. So we've got about 3 minutes left. So we have to wait on this candle to form. This candle will, it might, if it pops up above, the box is going to move with it. All right. So we're looking at a close. I don't like these as well as if it's, you know, pulls back in here, middle of the box, and then picks a direction. So it might be short-lived. I already have 3 in the hole up here to trade. That's all we're doing. 3 contracts long if we get a candle to close above the box. Now, right now, that is not, and I'm hoping the signal's right because I had it set up on my laptop, and I'm not sure if it's really set up on this one. It doesn't look like it is. Yeah, it is. Okay, this box is still moving. That's why I need to make sure. And I'm hoping the signal on this because, so I'm going to watch. If I don't get a green arrow, it just means I don't have the signals on because I'm pretty new to this indicator I have on. And again, I set it up on my laptop and recorded on it and did the charts for the slideshow. So I'm hoping that I got everything set up today on this. You'll see that this indicator does put on targets. Okay, that's these lines as things progress, as it moves. Okay. And after things feather out during the day, sometime the morning, we'll run this till noon is my plan, to run these from 9:30 to noon over this week. So you guys can plan to be here. And we're going to trade in this account. Am I in that account? Yeah. So I'm already in that account, ready to go. Sorry, guys. I'm still trying to move some screens around over here. So again, doing this on paper because it is new. I'm new to this, so I'm not about to go into one of my accounts. I did back test it. It does look well, but I only back tested it from, like I said, March. It was either March 23rd or March 27th to May. That's as far back as the data on this platform went. So I've got to get on my other one to go further back. That was manual back testing. That was going in, and then I went through replay mode again, just to trade it like I would trade it. So again, my plan is a close above the high. So now we have a new high, right? This is our high right now. And this is our 10-minute candle. So this, our 10-hour candle. So there's our close. There's the break above. I've got to buy. Oh, wait. Sorry, guys. I took that a little prematurely. My alarm's on. I need to wait for the candle to close. And it's still printing a high. That's why I don't think I've got that candle set right. It did put me in. So I'm already in. My stop's at the halfway point. So that's my bad. The box hasn't even finished printing. I've got to look at that because I must not have that set up right. So we should wait on the candle to close at 10:03 in my case. And we're still, we just hit 10. So this is the 10:03 candle. So it looks like I need to go out and adjust the indicator. And, oh, I've got it on 10:03. That's why. It needs to be at 10. So that's my screw up right there. So I did get in at the right price because I knew we hit 10 o'clock. I didn't wait for the candle to close. So that's my bad. This is something that is kind of iffy that I don't really care for on this. Strategy is and this is something you have to watch. So we have a halfway point, which is where our stop is. And I'm not even sure if I'm right in the right spot right now because it hasn't printed this half box. It hasn't printed the new box in here. And it should have printed it already. So it kind of looks like this back here, where you have the new box and you have a line in the middle. And we are, yeah. So I don't like that. It hasn't printed yet. I don't know. So there's our buy signal. So I went in kind of early, so this is kind of a bad setup on it. Right now for me, it's almost touch take profit one. Now, I will tell you that as I looked at this, and I mentioned it in the other video, that it's kind of lopsided. This strategy to me has always been lopsided. And what I mean by that is you tend to risk more than you gain if you close partial. However, the runners make up for that. And as I tested that, it played out to 78%, okay, on the ratio, which to me is great. 78%, I'll take that all year long, okay? So, again, stop is halfway, so we're risking almost 300. And when I close out partial, it would be here when it hits 1-to-1. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put a, I need to put a sell limit of 2 in here. Okay. So, again, it's up to you if you want to cheat that up a little bit to make up for the 1-to-1 ratio, because we're not quite closing at 1, because we are, again, taking a candle closing above the high or closing below the low. We're not putting a pending order right on that line. So if I would have put a pending order right on this line right here, the high, then it would be this profit target would be a true 1-to-1 ratio. And I need to move my stop down to that line. The line finally popped in box. I'm going to see if I can go into the coding on this and change that, because I don't like that big gap in there, because this didn't show up right away. So right now we just wait it out. So again, we had a buy signal in. You would actually, I'm going to mark this. Waiting on a candle to close, that would be your entry. would actually be right there. So I jumped the gun. I got kind of excited and placed the trade before I didn't wait the 3 minutes. Again, that's my bad. So that's going to skew our data a little bit. We'll color this. What do we want to color this? We'll just color this like pink, purple. How about purple? So that would actually be your entry right there. So you'd be in the negative for a little bit. I'm still in the negative a little bit. And again, I don't know how this is going to pan out for the day, but we're going to trade it. We're going to trade, again, every signal. Something I mentioned earlier, and it is mentioned in that video, the way this thing gives multiple signals. So right now we have a buy. Okay, we ever stop at the halfway point. I do cover putting your stop at a quarter stop loss, 3/4, or all the way. This is what I found looking back that worked the best, was the half stop area. As you notice, quarter stop, you'd have been taken out on this pullback. We could still be taken out. That's not the point. The point is, as I look back, it seemed like if you put your stop at the quarter stop, you're taking out a lot only to have to scramble back in. So how this would re-signal a buy. So let's say it comes down and stops me out. Okay. How it's going to re-signal a buy if it wicks down to stop me out. If I don't have a candle close below my stop, below that halfway point, it will not re-signal if it goes back up through here. Okay. So if it pulls back down and say it wicks me out, but the candle closes above it, okay, up in here. Why is that not showing for you guys? Maybe it is. All right, there it is. So again, I got to do something else over here. Buy. All right. So, sorry. So again, if it wicks down to take me out, then I'm out. If it wicks down but doesn't close below that halfway point where a stop is, but goes back up here above the high, it will not signal again. So what I noticed with this, what it seemed like, was that the price has to go down and close below the halfway point, and then when it goes back up and breaches the high and closes above the high again, you will get another buy signal. So that being said, you get a pullback, you're stopped out. If it goes back up and signal and crosses here without closing below your stop, then you would have to get in manually. So it looks like we're going to get stopped out here. It's very, very close. And again, this is the first day of trading. This is why this is done in a paper account. So we'll trade it today, see what happens. We're looking again to take, this should be, yeah. So I found a multi-line tool that had one, or a vertical line tool that had one vertical line on it. I put 3 in there. Is this one that comes up at 9:45, and then one comes up at noon, and then one comes up at 4 p.m. The vertical lines are there to remind me I'm only trading up to noon, and then that noon to 4. So it's real easy to go back and again back test with those vertical lines on the chart. Why I'm looking at the 9:45 is some people have talked about, and this is a big debate, not really a debate, I guess, it's just personal preference. Some people are taking trades when what do I say? After the first 15 minutes, which would be from here, 9:30 to 9:45. Some people are taking trades after the first half hour, and some people are even waiting for the first hour. There's actually people trying to trade the first 5 minutes. I don't recommend that at all. If you're taking the first 5 minute, here's 6 minutes right here, which would be this candle low right here, that candle low, and then this candle high. That's 6 minutes. So if you take the first 5 minutes or 6 minutes and trade, you'd wait for a candle to close below. You would have been okay on these. Actually, today, you have this wick would be your high. Only this candle closes above it. So you would, if you did that, you would have already profited, closed partial. Okay. This low here, we wicked down, but it didn't close below it, so you wouldn't have taken a short. So some people are trading that first 5 or 6 minutes. So as I look to the future, because I did it this way looking in the past, okay, as I look to trade this daily, if that's what I'm going to do, and I want to add this to a trade strategy that I trade on Nasdaq only, I want to come in, I'm trading other things, right, with my other strategy, but I may decide to add this. Or, hey, it works. I'm going to come into Nasdaq. I don't have to do anything but come in at 10 o'clock and mark the high and the low and wait for a breakout. I can set alarms for those breakouts. So we have alarm lines. Did it not put them on the chart? I don't see them on here, guys. So I can come in, and again, I would put alarms on the high and the low. And I would set up an alert, okay, that is going to let me know that price broke, okay. I'd want to know that price actually closed below, okay. So price closes below, basically a candle forming that price closes below that line, give me an alert, okay. So I could come in and I could be trading my other instruments. I could still have 4 to 6 instruments up, trading my usual. I don't always trade Nasdaq. You guys know that. A lot of times it's ES. If I trade indices, I don't trade indices every day. So for me, it's gold, Bitcoin, sometimes platinum or oil. It just depends on how they look. It's always gold and Bitcoin. And again, sometimes platinum and oil. And then indices, if I want to, but don't have to. Okay, so that being said, typically I have trades on by now. I have trades on several instruments. So this typically waiting for the U.S. stock market to open and trading Nasdaq or ES or Dow or Russell, I look at all 4 and see what looks the best to me. What looks the best? What's moving the best? What's more fluid? What do I like? I don't like chop. So if something's super choppy, I don't want to trade it. I love that we're getting long wicks here. Long wicks typically mean a turnaround. Okay, because we do have sellers pushing, but the bullish side of the market's holding it up. Okay, so I'd love to see that for our profit target. I'm not trailing tight on this. The way I ran the strategy was it hits PT1, which is here, and when it hits PT1, you close partial and move your stop to break even, and you're done until you have to move your stop again. Okay. But again, I can just come to the computer. Another thing is, and I mentioned this in the video too, because someone asked, well, why are you looking into the strategy? Well, because someone asked me to. Someone asked me for help with this strategy that they're using, and they're trying to trade it. They saw the strategy, they like the strategy, they like the idea of it for whatever reason or not. I don't care. But they asked for help. Can you help me? What I've noticed is if you look at Nasdaq, and you'll see it in that video, a lot of times it barely goes to PT1. Okay, so we'll be lucky. I consider it that you're lucky if it goes to PT1. So if that's the case, and you look back through the charts and see that, man, roughly it's barely hitting PT1, then guess what you should do at PT1? You should close part of your profit, right? Why sit here every day? Why sit here every day and torture yourself shooting for profit target 2 to get hit if its tendencies are to only go to PT1? Close partial. You have to look at what it does daily and decide where you can go in and grab your profit. Okay? It's not a mover that always moves. So like PT2 or 3. If it always moved to PT2, I wouldn't be closing partial here. I wouldn't have that on. And again, I only went back and I went back further and looked, but I only ran the replay from that, whatever it was, March 23rd or 27th. So nothing too exciting. We have our order to close partial. That's to make it mechanical. Takes us out of the equation because, again, you're trading and you're putting a trade on, you're risking X. You see profit up here as price pushes up to PT1 and you're up a couple $100 and you don't want to close because you're saying to yourself, what if, what if, what if? You get in that what if mindset. What if it goes further? Okay, well, what if it does? You're just going to make more profit on your runner. Okay, but we're sitting here and we need to pull partial. So right now, nothing exciting. Wasn't sure how good of a day we were going to get on this today. Let's see here. So again, that's why we're doing the test on this. That's why the video was put together on it. We had news come out at 10 a.m. on the dot, the ISM numbers, and that's, we got a little bit of a push on it. Looking at the calendar to see what we have for, we have several news releases coming out this week as far as, we do have FOMC come out. We got the Fed funds rates. Those are Wednesday, so expect movement. Those are always in the afternoon. So that 2 to 2:30 span in there, those are coming out. So just be aware that those are coming out because they will affect your trade. Tomorrow, really nothing on the U.S. dollar. We've got Canadian news comes out. So, of course, in my Forex account, we'll be looking to trade that. And then looking through on Thursday, we do have unemployment claims at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. It'll be before the U.S. session starts, though, the U.S. stock market. So it'll be before we come in to trade this strategy. And I think that's another thing that's appealing to a lot of people, especially newer people with this strategy, is you're waiting for the U.S. stock market opens. So a lot of our news that comes out really affects the Forex market because it comes out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. So you get movement in the Forex pairs and also the currency futures. So that being said, there are a lot of people that do not like the volatility that's created of news releases, and so they don't want to trade the news releases. And so they want to wait. So this is a good strategy for that. Again, this is pure testing right here. And that's, like I said, why I created a brand new paper account. And then this account will only, this week, I'm only going to trade this strategy. So we're only going to have a few trades in here. I don't know how many. Let's say one per day at least, because we're going to trade all 5 days. So we're going to have at least 5 trades in here. Only if we profit each first trade and don't have to get into a second trade or don't have a second trade signaled, we'd have 5 trades for the end of the week. So I see us getting anywhere from 10 to 15 trades based off of what I looked. Because again, if we take this trade, we hit profit, move our stop to break even, it comes back. Let's say it goes through the bottom, or let's say it comes back halfway and goes back out the top again. That's going to be trade 2. Okay, as long as it's before noon. And you're quitting at noon. As long as you've had a positive trade, you're quitting at noon. So that redemption period is that 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. And again, that redemption period is if you've had no winning trades from 10 a.m. to noon. If you've had absolutely no winning trades, you would trade again only the first signal. You're only putting 1 trade on. And again, that I kind of explained that, but that's why. So let's say this is a loss. So price pulled up. We haven't pulled partial yet, right? So let's say it comes down and stops us out. So it came down and stopped us out, right? And that's a losing trade. And I don't care. We could pick a direction. Either it comes down here and puts us in short and pulls back, or goes up and puts us back in long, signals again, and comes back and stops us out. That would be our two losses. So again, let's say it puts us in short, comes back and stops us out. And that's all before noon. Let's say right in here somewhere is noon. We don't get another signal. So we've taken two losses. So what has the market done? So basically, we have our range high that we're using, 930 to 10. That's just a time-based range high. That's all it is. That's time-based. 9:30 to 10 a.m. We have a time-based range. We're setting up a high and a low between 9:30 a.m. and 10 a.m. That is purely time-based. There's nothing else about that range. It is pure time-based. It's not price-based. It's pure time. 9:30 to 10, half hour. We're marking a high-low. Time-based. What do we see over here? Well, this is our market move. This is our movements. It comes up and creates a high, pulls down here, creates a low, pulls back and stops out. Two losing trades. So, but that's movement. That's movement after the stock market opens. That's a difference. This is price movement, price action. Okay? So we have a high, we have a low. What does that give us? Another range. This high over here, the high that would be created down here, and we would be in short, stopping us out on both. It's created a high and a low. But that is price-based off the movement. Okay? So as long as that happens before noon, then we would take the redemption trade. That redemption trade, again, is noon to 4 p.m. Eastern. The reason why we're taking it, so it's created a high. Let's say it creates a low. It's created a range. It's going to move sideways in that range till what? Till it breaks out. And then it breaks out, and then it runs without us because it's an afternoon trade. No, I'm doing the first 30 minutes on this one. Scripted signals. Yeah, I'm doing the first 30 minutes is what I'm doing. Because when I looked at the previous days, I saw several days that price this at right after 9:45, it would, like, price would pull, let's say push down in this case below the low and close, and then peak back up and turn. Okay, now that can happen at any time. So I was looking at both when I went back and kind of back tested. That's why this vertical line's right here. So as I'm trading this every day this week and watching, I'm going to look, and that's part of my data I want to look at. Would it have been better for me to look at just the first 15 minutes and mark those out? Okay. So again, when I looked back through the charts, and I looked back further than just the past month, I only recorded the past month, took screenshots, and then did replay on it. I saw that if you did it from 9:30 to 10, it seemed to pan out better than the 9:45. So that's just what I found. Again, I am looking at that going forward, and that's again why this vertical line's here. The vertical line is solely there to, I guess I don't need the cursor on. The vertical line is there to mark the 9:45. So today, we would have, our high and a low. Today, if I can't move the line off there because it's by an indicator. But if you look at the high of this candle, I believe it's below this one. So that would be your high right here. And then, yes, the 9:45 would have worked better today because this candle closed above the 945. Okay, so that would have been the high. Your low here, your high here, and then 945, wait for a candle to close. This candle closed above it. You would have placed the trade, putting your stop halfway. It would have been in here somewhere, halfway between this high and this low. So your stop would have been in here somewhere. Your half stop closed. It did nothing but shoot up. So that would have been a good positive trade because it did shoot up and hit PT1. And again, PT1 is all these profit target levels are based off of the halfway point on this indicator that I'm using. And I think there's a way to change that where you can, instead of just having the profit target 1 level and 2 be the equal distance of the halfway point, the middle of the box, you can change that to make it to where it's like 1.5, 1.2, whatever you want. So you can tweak that. And that's going to be based on each individual trader. So there's a lot of things with this that you can make up the base rules, and then there's going to be things that everybody trades. So for me, my twist on it is definitely closing partial, because I saw that Nasdaq a lot of times barely got to this level, got to the first level, and then turned, stayed in the range the rest of the day, turned, went the opposite way, but didn't trend. If you know anything about Nasdaq, it does not trend. Doesn't trend often. Once in a while, it'll have a break and a run. I've had a couple that I've held for a few days, but that's rare. That's very rare in Nasdaq. So since it's very rare, we don't expect it. I don't expect the runners to run long term where we can get it hitting profit target 6, 7, 8. We've had stuff like Bitcoin and a few other instruments and oil that have run that have hit all 22 because we use that profit target tool. Basically, we took the fib tool and we push it like this from our stop to entry, wherever your stop is. And basically, this is the fib tool. And we've just changed it in here. We've tweaked it. Just set it up as 0.5 for your half stop, moving your stop halfway once you hit target 1. And then it's basically 1, 2. You have to go back and forth in order to label levels 1 and 2, 3 and 4. But basically what that does is puts all these targets on our chart, and you can see it goes all the way to 22. We've had things go past that. But it's rare, and it's not Nasdaq. I forgot to turn that music on, guys, and it disappeared. I need some kind of noise over here. I just threw some instrumental something on just because I need a little something. Nobody's here at the house. Because if it's copyright, it shuts down. Yeah, John, that's exactly right. Why I call Nasdaq the Widowmaker. Yeah, that's, John, that's our scripted signals. That's what I was saying a little bit ago, is the way that this is calculated on the indicator, it is based off this halfway point. The profit target's 1, 2. So you may want to adjust those out. I've mentioned that in the video too, that if we were putting a trade right here, like if I went in right now and put a sell stop in, I'm just going to throw a sell stop at 2 on. I'm not going to worry about changing. But let's say I went in and put a sell stop right there at that line, then this first profit target level here would be a true 1-to-1. That would be true 1-to-1. Okay? So that's why I was saying, as this moves, it's kind of hard to go in and adjust it. So if your entry's here, then that's not a true 1-to-1. you would have to go in and either tweak the indicator, okay, or I can come in here and measure. Whoop, we need to turn that magnet off. But you can come in and measure. If I can get the tool to work, right? And come in and measure from your entry and come down. We got 206, and then come up to 206, which would be, you know, right in there. That's 207. And that would be where you would want to mark your take profit level right there, where the white line is. That would be a true one-to-one. So as I did the back test, I didn't do that. There were days where there was only two that I remember. There was one day where at 10 o'clock, it was a news day, okay, news release. At 10 o'clock, the candle shot through target 1 and was up near target 2. And you'd expect a pullback. I treated it just like I said I was going to treat it. I was going to buy when it gave a buy signal. So again, you're going to tweak it to suit you. I went into this where I wanted to see if someone, my son is trading, and he basically started on gold and has been trading gold for over a year, wanted to add Bitcoin. I let him add Bitcoin, and then he came to me about 3 months ago and wanted to add Nasdaq. I basically said no. I don't want you trading Nasdaq because he doesn't have a lot of time in, and he's not trading a lot. He's not trading every day, every week. So, but he wants to trade Nasdaq. So, along with me looking at this for someone else, it's, can I give this to my son and have him trade it? I got to keep it simple. He doesn't want to learn all the mechanics. Can I create this or tweak the system? Again, if Nasdaq only goes to 1 and 1, or the profit target 1 typically, and that's all it goes. If daily it goes to PT1, closes or hits it, that's what it does most days. So let's say 3 or 4 days out of the week, it does that. It only hits PT1 and goes back into the range like it did today. And it didn't quite even get there yet. If that's all it does, why would I not want to profit there? I mean, you need to see that as your sign, right? And say, well, this strategy getting in at the 945 or 10, it only goes to PT1 most days. Is it something you want to trade? Well, what I've found is if you close partial, move your stop to break even, you're still in the positive. A trade is not as big as if it runs, but you leave the runner on in case it keeps moving. Okay, so again, everybody's going to tweak it a little differently. But that's another reason for looking at it. I don't know what they've traded this week. He won't tell me. He wasn't allowed getting outside help. It was like, it's a school thing. The last week and this week. He says they're up on the week. I don't know what they're trading because they're allowed to trade anything. He asked me early on before last week what I thought, and he's trading with 3 other people, and I said, why don't you guys, and they're doing like $100,000 they're allowed to trade with. I said, why don't you guys put like 20,000 together? So 20,000 you guys trade with as a team, and then 20,000 each individually, and see where you guys end up at the end of the week. See whose strategy works best. His? One of his friends? I don't know. But they're allowed to trade anything, and then I think it was after the 3rd day they're allowing them to day trade. All right, so we are stopped out. So stopped out on that first loss. Now we got to wait for another signal. I'll just tag it as a loss. And see what I mean by it not going to PT1. Now, again, if I would, this one, the only way this strategy would have today would have worked better is if we would have went with the 945 and this candle closed above. So that candle closed above, and I'll tweak this. Let's tweak this out just so we can see. This is the kind of stuff you need to do when you're back testing. So there we're at 10. So we're going to go 945, and we're going to see what it looks like. We already know what it looks like, right? So actually, that candle did not close. It closed like right on the line. It did give you a sell there, actually. So again, if you're taking the buy signal and sell signal, or sorry, I gave you a buy signal. So it did actually give a buy signal, so it looks like it closed like one tick above, right? Barely. But that would have been profit, right? So that's true one-to-one. You're not going to get that. Where it goes up and closes just above the high, one tick, so you can get in right around that price. So you can get a true one-to-one. That would have been a true one-to-one. So something else I'm looking at is, and I recommend, if you guys are, I'm using the halfway loss. If you are looking at using a quarter loss and having your stop at, a quarter of the position, so right in here somewhere, then look at that as we trade. Look at it as you're back testing. Look at it as you're trading as an option. So as I'm looking and trading this week, and I'm putting my stop at the halfway point, I'm also looking at if I took this entry and put my stop at a quarter loss, did I get stopped out? Okay, how often does that happen to me? That I get stopped out at a quarter, only for it to, go and run and go long. All right, so that's something to consider. Looking back, I just saw that the halfway point seemed to make more sense on most of the days. So at that 945, and I need to change this back to what I had it set on, the 10. So today, the 945 would have worked out great. So it is something to kind of look back and forth. So that's why I'm doing this and setting it on 10, but this vertical line here is marking the 945 area because I need to know, I don't know why that shut off. I need to know what the 945 looks like at. Would that be a better option? And we could tweak that back and forth, but that line will be there every day. So since this did pull past the halfway point and close past it, as far as what I've seen on the indicator, it should, if it goes back up and hits this area and goes through it, it should give us another buy signal. But I believe it had to cross, because I've seen several times like this here where it dipped back in the box, but you don't get a buy. Like right there, and you don't get a buy there, don't get a buy there, which is good. We don't want to keep getting those signals and taking more trades if it's come back and stopped us out. So it has to come back past the halfway point and then turn and go back and cross the higher low. So far, one loss for the week. I don't think if I go out to that, you guys can actually see it in here. Oh, I don't know if you guys could see that. I need to, let's see, we might get a buy here. I need to take off this order and take off. Well, actually, I could have left that pending order up there to close. So we're crossing. See how we're getting another buy? So we need to wait. This one I'm using here is by Lux Algo. It's just called, I think I put in orb with targets was my search. Because this is, I don't think that's the name. What's the name? Opening range. The name's popping up there on the left. You guys cannot see that, can you? But it's the name for it is opening range with breakouts and targets is what it's called. I have tweaked mine. So the code's there, the source code's there, so you can go ahead and tweak it and permanently change what you want to change. So you don't have to set it up when you restart your charts. So we got 3 in the hole ready to trade. So far we're down 319 on the day, no big deal. Oh yeah, so if you're trading Nasdaq, and I mentioned this in that video, guys, you shouldn't be trading Nasdaq if you don't have a large account. This is not for small account traders. It's just not. So I'll see people, something like this, you know, they take the trade because it broke and closed above the high. They'll put the stop, quarter stop. Well, you get stopped out right there. Then this next green candle, what does it do? It closes above the high. So they put a trade on with a quarter stop here. They get wicked out. There's 2 trades within 6 minutes. This one gets wicked out. 6 minutes later, this one gets wicked out. Then you get the next candle. It closes above the high. They would take that with a quarter stop. Well, it never gets up to profit target. It doesn't even get back to the previous high. Stops you out 6 minutes later. So you just took 3 trades in a row, and you're suffering the same losses that I put 1 trade on, and it hit my stop over here. So again, you're going to take more trades. You're going to be more active if you're trading with a quarter loss, the quarter point as your loss. All right, so we're still waiting on the candle close. We got about 8 seconds. So I'm ready to pull the buy signal. And I said I was going to wait till candle close. So that's why we haven't pulled the trigger yet. And there we go. Hopefully the order triggered. I don't want to hit it again. Come on. I don't know where the order is, guys. I'm going to hit it again. Hopefully it only placed the 3. Pull our stop back down here to the halfway. And then we'll see how this one goes. So, again, we're going to pop an order on for 2 contracts. And we're going to do a sell limit up above. So, again, it's lopsided. And that's what this orb strategy a lot of times is. It is lopsided. You can want all you want. I can want 1-to-1 on every trade and do that. I'm just going to tell you, from looking back through the charts, that's not what you get. So I can want that all day long, all week long, all year long. Is want a true 1-to-1 where I enter the trade, I put my stop halfway, and I want that. And I could tell you this, you're not going to get it most days. So if I go there, I could shorten my stop some, but it would be the quarter mark. It would be right there to make it a true 1-to-1. I believe it'd be right there. You can see how now it's set at a true 1-to-1. So a lot of times you are upside down or lopsided on these trades. That's one thing I didn't like about this strategy when I looked at it years ago. I didn't like the idea of risking more than I was willing to lock in. However, going through and back testing it like I did, again, I only went back for a little over a month, but back testing it there, even though this was the setup right here, and you were risking more typically, even though that's the case, it made $13,000 over the last month, only with 3 contracts and closing 2 when it hit profit target 1 and letting a runner go, moving the stop to break even and letting a runner go. So, John, on the account size, I do know this. Back when I was in Forex and people would ask, that's back in like 2026 when that started. I mean, I started in 2024 or 2004, sorry. In 2006, when I had people asking, I said $10,000. That was my answer. It was like, if you don't have $10,000 to invest in the markets, you're not an investor. You shouldn't be trading. You shouldn't be investing. That was my rule. It's like, man, if you don't have 10,000, what are you doing? Now, a lot of things have changed because back then, I only knew one person that had people trading his money, and he was the guy that trained me. He had 10 people trading in his office, trading his money. Okay? And when I was helping people back then, I thought, well, that's cool. Can I find like 4 or 5 people, 10 people that could trade money for me and put in $10,000 in each account and then split the profits with them? That was back in like 2006. So that was where my quest went when I was trying to help people was, let's see if I can help people. And then we'll find the ones that are most profitable and then offer them where I'll fund an account for 10. That was back then. It didn't pan out. I had people that became successful. I offered that to them. And then they were like, Butch, I would love to. However, I'm focused on my trading right now. I'm doing well. And I think if I was trading someone else's money, I would second guess my trades. And I could full well see that. Because I don't know that I wouldn't. If you gave me $10,000 to trade, well, I know I wouldn't now, but when I started back then, when I just became profitable, if you came to me and said, Butch, I'll fund an account with 10 grand, split the profits with you, you get most of it, I'll just take a portion of it and let you trade my money. I would probably second guess my trades as well, my entries. You're second guessing yourself because you're trading someone else's money. Someone else's money's on the line. Okay, so I had one of the guys was Jim down in Cincinnati. Great guy, really learned to trade, and he was one I offered that to. And then there was a few others, and I got the same feedback from all of them. It was just, well, I'd be risking your money. I don't feel comfortable doing that, trading someone else's money. So that never panned out for me. Now here you are with prop firms all over the place. So, and we got the guys, I just call it a crap show that we have because they'll take anybody's money, buying the accounts and everything else. So, but for me, I recommended 10,000. Okay. So, but now you can get in and trade. Guys, there was a day where you had to have a huge account to even, get into trading. Then you had to have a multi-million-dollar account, then $1 million minimum to trade. This is way back before I started. You had to have $1 million to get in and trade. Then they started lowering the, as they realized there's more people that want to trade, they just don't have those kind of funds. They started lowering that barrier to get in, that entry fee. And here you got, you can open an account with $5. And trade it. So, I just recommend that someone put in right now. I've been telling people 5,000, 3 to 5,000 realistically in a live money account would be good. Because you have to allow for margin and everything, but we have prop firms. So with the prop firms, it opened up a whole door to where you can get in and trade like you need to. And that's something I'm going to see with this week is as I look to trade this, as I looked over the weekend, saw how it panned out, and I thought, I could trade this with my regular trades. I'm not going to be doing anything different. You know, I had someone in the Discord ask, well, why are you looking for another strategy? It's like, I'm not looking for another strategy at all. I have my strategy. However, do we not look for other vehicles to invest in? Isn't a trade strategy a vehicle? I don't like Nasdaq. I'll trade it. I'd rather trade ES. But if I can find something that works out on Nasdaq, and this may not be the go-to, but it may work on Nasdaq. If this works on a monthly basis on Nasdaq and can give you profit on Nasdaq every month, you only have to come in and set up I don't even have to set up the chart. I'm going to be in here trading every day. So let's say next week, I'm regular trading, 6 charts on the board. I'm watching 6 instruments looking for a trade. And then on Nasdaq, I have this indicator, the range breakout indicator on here, right? It's already on here. It's going to stay on here. Okay. I'm not going to put, and I've looked at that, guys. I've looked at putting the power trade indicator. It looks like it's stripped off this. Here it is. Back on the chart and using it. Looks like I'd have to do a full refresh. But using that as a indicator to help with this one. And I have to change a few settings in there for that. But it seemed like it worked fairly well. But if this is all I want to trade on this, then I only have to come in the morning at 10 o'clock. And if it breaks out like this right at 10, I'm taking a trade. If it pulls back at 10 and it's sitting in here in the middle somewhere, I'm going to set 2 alarms and then walk away from Nasdaq. So at 10 o'clock, if it is down here in the middle, I'm going to set an alarm at the high, alarm at the low, where those 2 green lines are, and walk away. I want to know when price closes on the other side of one of those 2 lines. Other than that, I'm not trading Nasdaq because that's this strategy. And then I want to track it differently. So I need to make sure that those are the only trades I take on Nasdaq. So when I pull my report at the end of the month, my trade report, and I pull it, anything I see that is Nasdaq, a Nasdaq trade, is going to be this strategy. So I'm going to pull specifically, because you can do that. You can go in. Let me see. I got a text from my son. I need to see what this is here. Just bear with me. Make sure he doesn't need something. Oh, he sent me his portfolio. Tesla, Meta, Pony AI, and Wingstop. Wingstop. Go figure. Oh, we love our wings. Sorry, I'm going to look and see where he's at while we're... I don't know if that's his portfolio or if that's all of them. Profit loss. So not bad. They're not doing bad. Let's see where he put most of his money is in. 50 shares Wingstop, Pony AI, 100 shares. 20 shares in Meta and 35 in Tesla. Tesla, they're down 266. What was the second one? Meta, they're up 903. And they're up 970 in Wingstop. And they're up 119 in that Pony AI. So not bad overall. That's 1 week. That was from last week. They had to do it in some account that they had to create through school. That's pretty nice. Notice he doesn't have Nasdaq on there because I asked him about that. Because he's been, like I said, itching to trade it. And I just went back and showed him the charts. He's real impatient. He's like, I don't need to learn all that. I just want to trade it. And I just told him, I'm like, Tyler, the Nasdaq I call the Widowmaker, and it just tears a lot of people up. It'll tear you up and spit you out. So, and today it's had a real smooth. We've had next to nothing. I mean, you look at the move. This is not volatile. Okay, we haven't had anything volatile. Okay, so but that's why I told him. I said some days it is super volatile, and it just whips back and forth, and you'll get tore up. And I've seen people blow accounts in, a few minutes off those moves. So, kind of talked him out of it, I think. I forget what I was talking about, guys. If one of you want to remind me, you'll have to remind me, because I got kind of sidetracked with his trade setup and what he wants. He's got to have me pick some stuff up tonight. So again, we're going to be a little, now I could tweak this if you guys want. You can tweak this up a little bit. I just, again, know that through the test, I did use the profit target one, well, unless it was past it. So if price blew through PT1, but was still under PT2, well, then PT2 was my target. So a lot of times, again, it was backwards or upside down. And, but at the end of the month and a few days, whatever it was still positive 13K. That's the big pick. How was it at the end of the month? The success rate was 78%. I'm fine with that. I will take 78% in a month. My win to loss ratio, I will take that all month long, every month, all year, the entire decade, the rest of my life. If that's what this did every month consistently, even though it's lopsided here as far as where I'm putting my stop, because I'm using a halfway point. Okay. The only, again, other way you can change is when it comes up and you get in at that price, you either adjust your stop up so you get true 1-to-1, or you're leaving your stop and you're pushing your target up. So you have true 1-to-1's like way up here. It has to get past this high first before it can do that damage and get all the way up there. Okay. What if it just comes up here and just taps this here again? That's it. And that's it. That's all it does. That's as high as it gets for the day. Again, seen it too many times looking back. So why not close and take profit? Let's see here. Oh my gosh, guys. All right, so he's asking me, are there any companies that would give them a leg up this week? I guess they're now allowed to reach out to other people. So we closed out closed out part, and then we would typically want to move to break even on it. So it's a winning trade, but guys, it's super close to my stop. I would rather, me being stop-based trader, if I can click on that, I would rather have my stop down here below this low. Okay. That's where I would put it personally. If I move my stop up, I'm going to keep it below that low in case it comes down to test it. However, when I set up to do this strategy, I said I was going to pull my stop to a break even, and that's what I did when I ran the true test. So that's the way I did it. Ran it from those days, from whatever it was, March 27th, 23rd, on to May 5th, and I did it like that. It didn't matter how close it was. It was like, okay, that was a profitable trade. So right now we're still negative on the day. And then, of course, if it happens to go past PT1, so again, it's not, I might have an upside down day. It might be negative on the day. And I'm okay with that. So right now, we just gained back some of what we lost. So we had a losing trade with a full half loss. we just gain back some of that. So if I can gain back some of that or all of that and end up at less negative or zero, I'm fine with that. I'd rather be less negative or break even on the day, right, than the full big loss. So that's why I said we're taking every signal between 10 a.m. and noon because of that. I'm not going to take the first loss and say I'm done for the day, because as I looked back and ran all the scenarios, it was the extra time you get back in covered up either part or all of your loser. If this keeps and runs, let's say this runner goes, then it's going to make more than the loss. If it comes back and stops me out, okay, 0 on the runner, I got partial on the 2, I made profit. I covered part of my loss, and I'm okay with that. So he is asking if there's any companies that would give them a leg up. Oh, they're 27th out of 28 teams. That's a lot of teams. Okay, so they're only up 2K. The team that's in first is up 15K. I'd have to run through the stock scanner. I'm not a big stock trader, so, but I thought they were allowed to trade other stuff, I think. I'm sitting here listening to the commercials. We can skip past them. So like I said earlier this morning, I said it's not going to be super exciting. If it breaks and runs and goes for us, well, then it'll get a little more exciting. But we haven't had anything exciting this morning. So right now we're still down. I forgot I put the whole profit, realized profit down there on there. And that's the other reason for doing this in paper, because you can actually see our realized profit and loss, which is the 202, and our unrealized, which is the 52. So you can't do that in Trade-Evate. It doesn't show it like that, what you've locked in for the day. So here's something I'm going to do. So I'm going to trade this all week this week. So look for me to start this. I'll probably start at 9:30 every morning just to kind of recap. We will be looking at the 9:45, of course, and that's why I want to start at 9:30. So at 9:45, we're looking. For those of you that want to get in at 9:45, can take that break and close above or below the 9:45 high-low. I'm going to change up this indicator a little bit so it shows you, so back here, we would have the high and the low of both. So you would mark the high and the low right here from the 945. But I want it to show something like this. So it'll be something like that, where I'll have two boxes in here. Again, one will be showing the high-low between the 945, 9:30 to 9:45, the first 15 minutes, and then the other will be showing this first half hour. So then you can decide how you want to trade that. So again, today on this, if you did the first 15 minutes, this candle technically closed like one tick above the high. So it did have a green arrow when I switched the indicator over. So would you have taken that where it closed right at the high? I can tell you some traders, you look at it now, right now you look at it and say, sure, I would have taken it. It would have hit PT1, closed out partial, moved my stop to break even. You'd have been stopped out here. Boom, you're in and out. You're positive on the day, and you're done for the day unless you get another buy, which we just had over here. Your box top, though, would be right in here. So this candle closing up above would have signaled for you. And because, again, the middle of the box would have been down a little bit lower. So that would have signaled you would have bought at the close of this candle. So the same area, right, at the close of that candle. So this candle. So you'd have bought right here in that case if you did the 945. So two good trades on the 945 today. So as you look at this, that's why I'm keeping my mind open. Again, I back tested, looked at 945, 930, and over that time period that I tested, the 930 to 10 worked the best because I saw several times, and I don't really want to go back into the charting and look, and I don't know where my stop went. My stop disappeared. Oh, no, stop's underneath, sorry. So stop's underneath. So I want to keep my mind open. So that's why I'm looking at both that, the 945. But I saw several times where a candle like this would close past that 945 high, only to, and that would have put you in long, only to go back and trend down and shoot down to PT1 down here. So it seemed like I would have taken more losses that way, and my percentage would not have been 78%. So it probably would have been down around, and I'm guessing I'd have to run back and actually do a true replay like I did. But I'm guessing it would have been somewhere between, like 68 and 73, somewhere in there with the extra losses that I saw that I would have taken on that. So nothing exciting. Still waiting on it to get up to PT2. These don't print profit targets like some of the others. Some of these, I'll go look at the settings, but some of these you can get in where it just prints all the profit targets, kind of like our tool does, where you pull from a high low, and you have all those profit target levels in their zones. This one, as it moves up, it'll print the next one up. So I kind of like it. It keeps your charts a little clean. Of course, you can color all these. Again, this one is called opening range with breakouts and targets. It is a Lux algo. It's got a bunch of settings in here. This time period, 30 minutes in here, I had to go to the custom range. Because if I uncheck that box, it's way out there, guys. It starts at the day. It's like the new day, so 6 p.m. So I put custom time period in there, and then, of course, we're doing 9:30 to 10, and then mine's UTC4. It would be for the New York, to set that up New York stock time. I'm out of the trade. I see it stopped us out. You want it to show breakout signals. I've got huge arrows on mine, so that is the huge arrows. Here's your targets. Show targets or not. There's no targets. There's your targets on there. And then target percent of range, 50%. So that's if you're going to use that true 50%. You can tweak that if you want. If you want to go 1.5 times, then you would put like 75. You'll see how it moved that target up. So you guys can put whatever you want on there. I'm just showing you kind of some basics on this and what I saw on the back testing. MA, it's got a moving average in there. I don't use an MA on my chart, but you can put an MA on there to what you want. And then you can play around with the colors if you want. Look at what else. This text size right here that says huge, it's these over here. It's the numbers and the text. Of course, you can set alerts on this as well. That's what I thought I had on here, but I didn't get, it did not, and I've got my sound on the computer, so I'm not sure why that didn't trigger. Yeah, So there's something there that's not either set up right or I don't have, oh, exiting channel. We don't want that at all. Might have to do crossing up and down and hit 2 of these. So, or crossing. Is that going to be a high-low though? Because it says lower band, or did. So I'd have to play, oh, here's what I did. What did I do? Exiting the channel. Let me move this over. So I did, on the alarm, I did exiting the channel once per bar close, and I would put the high-low in. So what you're putting in is this price point. So for the high, the upper band, it would be 20,071.25. And then for the low down there is 19,985.25. Okay, and you would do that. So I did not set that up this morning. And that should put, again, your, where are they at? Should have put those on the charts. I'm not sure why they're not showing. So it should have put 2 alarms on the chart, and they're not on here, guys. So again, I haven't played with that enough. Again, this is my first day. So I put it on over the weekend to test the strategy, look at it. And I haven't had enough time to play with the alarms, obviously. I know I put them on last night, and they both showed. So it's kind of bugging me why they're not showing right now. I did exiting channel, and then again just put the 2 prices, the high and the low, and it should have popped 2 alarms on here. Let's see if I put a new one on. Because I want to put it on now in case it goes back in. Plus, I just want to see if this works or why it's not put on there. Let's try it without the decimal. I know I used the decimal last night, though. What did we say? 19,985. Yeah, there it put them on. So which one is this? So you may just have to put new ones on, because I know I put them on last night and I thought, well, I can just come over here and come in and click and change the prices, and that didn't work evidently. So now we have the 2 lines on there that are the alerts, and it's set to crossing. Now again, I'm going to set it, pause it right now, but because we're up above. Or you can leave it on. I can leave it on. I guess I can leave it on, and if price pulls back down into the box, it's going to give me alert. So I'll go ahead and do that just to make sure this alert thing's signaling. So if price closes below that, that's what I want to see. I want to see it signal when price closes below. So we could still take, where are we at? We got about 48 minutes. Yeah, about 47 minutes. We could take another trade if one's given to us. We made back some of what we, I forget, I don't remember the price, guys. Maybe one of you guys do, as to how much I was down when that first trade hit negative. I want to say it was around 360. I wasn't really looking. I'd have to go back through the video after the recording and look. But I want to say it was down about 360, and now we're down 195. So we've made back part of our loss, okay? Now, again, I have to, and this is something that I really didn't do. So that was a winning trade, the second one. So again, trading during the redemption period or noon to 4 p.m. is basically if you've had no winning trades through the day. Now, we haven't had a breakout. We just haven't had a breakout, right? We have a high here from the session, pulled up here, created a high at that 10 to 10:03 candle, and then pulled down to make a low, which is a higher low. I'm looking now at market moves, the structure, and then it pulled up technically to break that low. And as it's coming down, we're looking for it to bounce. So traditional trading, we're seeing it come in and make higher highs, higher lows. Is it going to bounce here and go on? Okay, that's what I'd look for in traditional, just trading style, trading the movements of the market, trading the structure. Right now we have bullish structure. Not the best. It's not moving fast. Very slow session so far. But overall we have, bullish structure. But overall we have bullish structure. Okay, which is what we want to see for continuation. We want to see it bounce here somewhere and go up. Now I'm already out because I moved my stop to break even. If you remember, the entry was here and I moved my stop to break even, which got wicked out there. And that, remember I said I would have rather had my stop right here. That is not the tool I want. So I'd rather had my stop right there, okay? Because remember, my entry was here on this candle. So my stop, I pulled to break even, got stopped out there. But when I pulled my stop, remember I said I would rather had it under this low. There, I'd still be in right now. I would be open though, opening myself up to take a small loss against the gains I locked in if I had my stop here, okay? Because I only put on 3, closed 2. So, but that's not how I said I was going to run it this week. I said I was going to take this week, and when it hit the first profit level, close to, and move the stop to break even. So that is how I'm doing it this week. Now, I may find that I may want to go back and give these the extra room. It just is going to depend on the moves we see through the week. I got a lot of coffee here, and I'm behind on drinking it. So that one was stopped out here. So that was a profitable trade on that one. So it covered part of our loss. So back to account size. As I like to touch on everything, again, if you're trading through a prop firm, that's where I want to go next with this. So I'm going to test it this week, see how it does. Something for me, though, is I've got an event that we're doing here in Ohio, and it will be 3 weeks starting next Monday. It's over 3 weeks, and it is in the morning. So I will not be doing live session those next 3 weeks. So this week it'll be this in the morning here doing live. And then the next 3 weeks it'll be evening sessions. So I want to do evening sessions. And we're going to be looking at a few things. Is one, I'm always trading the Australian dollar or the Kiwi. The Aussie and the Kiwi. Always. Trade one of those during the Sydney to Asian session, okay? Because we get news that comes out, those move. I like the way they move. I'm used to them. So I trade the Australian dollar and the New Zealand dollar, the Aussie and Kiwi, at night. And I don't trade them every night. But over the next 3 weeks, we're going to look to trade those. But I will also throw in either gold or Bitcoin. I'm not sure which yet. And we will look at one indice. And it'll probably be ES, not Nasdaq. The reason being is I want to see how one of the indices does outside of the market. I've already looked back. Of course, as I trade every night, I can easily look at the other instruments and see how they do. None of them's looked nice enough to pull me in. There's been times where I have traded like Nasdaq or ES in the evening, but it's not something I say, okay, I'm going to sit here every evening at 8 o'clock and I'm going to trade Nasdaq or S&P. Nothing like that, to where like I know that every evening I can trade the Australian dollar or the New Zealand dollar, and I will sit down and trade them. I haven't once seen charts on Nasdaq, ES, Russell, or Dow that have said that I've said that. But we'll look at them, and it'll be a 3-week span. It's probably going to be Bitcoin over gold. I don't know for sure, because typically in the evenings I trade both those. Gold and Bitcoin are two things I look at always, along with the Australian dollar and Kiwi. So for me, when the Sydney session comes around, opens, if I'm doing trades in the prop firm account, it's going to be after 6 p.m. I'll be looking at the charts and have gold, Bitcoin, and the Australian dollar and the Kiwi are the 4 I'll have up. And it's only 4 during that session that I'll look at. So that'll be the next 3 weeks starting next Monday. Evening sessions. So it'll be a little different. Well, this is moving slow and going nowhere. I'm already out. Can't get back in because my rules don't allow it right now. No matter if it breaks and runs without me. So some data I need to look at as the day goes on. What if this breaks and runs right now? Okay, we're good bullish structure right now. What if it breaks and just runs? If it breaks and runs without me right now, what can I say to myself? I could say, well, if I would have had my stop here and not went to break even, I'd have still been in. I would have been opening myself up to potential loss on my runner, though, but it would have been a less of a loss than down here. Because remember, get in on the buy signal here and put the stop at the halfway point. It goes up and hits PT1. My plan this week was to move my stop to a break even. Well, I got stopped out. Okay. Do I need to look at adjusting that? I don't know right now. Okay. I ran the test and the results over the weekend on me pulling the stop to break even. And yes, we got stopped out. It may run without us. I may miss that profit. So I want to look at that. Day 1, day 2, 3, 4, 5 this week. Would it have been better for me not to pull to break even, to have kept my stop down here? And the reason why I'm covering that, obviously, is because it's pushing against the top. We're going to see. If it breaks out right now, it's going to break and run without me. A little disappointed because I got stopped out. But that's because I moved my stop to a little tighter, moved it to break even, okay, which is right here. And then, of course, got stopped out on that. I don't know what kind of music they are playing. So that was my stop, got wicked out. I don't remember exactly where the stop price was, but pretty much just got wicked. So far, nothing much. It looks like it's wanting to break PT1. Still got a minute for this candle to form before that decision is out in the open. Have you guys traded this before? Just interested to see. I know we've got a few people in the Discord that do trade it. I think some have traded it and kind of put it on the wayside. It's come back around with people talking about it again. And we got someone had contacted me over the weekend about it. Sent me a message on it, so I decided I'd go look and see if I could put my little spin or twist on it and see if I could make it positive for them. Now, going through, when you watch the video, if you haven't watched the video, again, the link is in here as well as in the video description. I don't know if I can pin that or something. Oh, I can barely see there we go. So I pinned the message to the top. That's the link to that video. It's also in the video description. That's the video I recorded last night. It does go over the strategy, the setup, the rules, how to move your stop, as well as shows all the charts from that back test I did. Every single daily chart that shows, getting in on the buy, putting your stop at the halfway point, getting stopped out, trade one loser, getting in on the next buy signal, stop at halfway point, next trade positive, third trade. It shows you all that mapped out on each of the charts. It's all in all in the video. And then after I did that, so after I went and manually marked everything up, then I ran it through the replay, through TradingView's replay, and ran it back, traded it each and every day. So that's what I did. I ticked the chart over, I had this indicator on chart, ticked it over. When this candle came up, said buy, I placed a buy of 3 contracts. When it came up and hit that profit target, because if I would have bought here, then I would have been looking for, the higher level. If you're buying in that close to the PT, I'm not closing in that, very small span. So basically, that's how I traded it. Again, it hit the profit target, closing 2, moving stop to break even. So when I did, and the video goes over how many trades. I can't remember how many trades overall it was. I want to say like 68 trades overall, but that might be wrong. I don't have the slideshow in front of me right now. But overall, it was 78% win rate and 13K in profit on the day, on the month. And that, again, was only trading 3 contracts, which is small. Yes, John, I will be live on here, YouTube, over those 3 weeks. Yeah. So I just wanted to let everybody know that, and I'll post it out in the Discord. So yeah, starting next week, for the 3 weeks, I'll be live in the evening instead of mornings. Because like I said, I've got an event that I'm doing over those 3 weeks. And then after that, after those 3 weeks, we'll be back to our regular morning sessions. And I'll probably throw this into the mix as long as this pans out to where I'm going to be doing my usual trading, between that 8:39, look to get into the market in a few different, because I like to get into like gold or Bitcoin or oil. Sometimes it's platinum before the U.S. stock market opens, and even get into profit. And then you guys know I like to get into a few things like that and get into a profitable position before the U.S. stock market opens. Then when the U.S. stock market opens, then I look at the 4 indices and decide if I want to throw one of those in the mix. Sometimes I do take a trade on an index or 2. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I leave them alone. It depends on how they look over here. Depends on how they look pre-market over here and after the open. So I used to do a breakout strategy in the London session. So right here is your U.S. stock market open, 9:30. Typically me, for the London session breakout, I'm looking ahead or behind. I'm looking back before the London session opens, looking back and marking a high-low. Well, you can see right here would be your high, here would be your low, depending on how far you look back, and waiting for a breakout. Quickly here on Nasdaq, you got it only for it to turn around. In the currency pairs, it's different. You'll see different moves than that. It's not always going to be chopped like this. So this is typical right here of Nasdaq, just to get choppy back and forth during market open. Let it get its jitters out of the way. But we've got no follow through today at all. So right now it's pulled up there, and now we have a new high. We've got a high area here. that PT1 level. We've got the low right where my stop wicked. We're going to use that for a, why not? Why shouldn't Nasdaq use my stop line as a support level? I mean, you know, after it took me out barely, just you can use my line. Just use it for a support level for the rest of the day. Why not, right? That's what disgusts you right there. When you see that and you're like, just took me out and it's just using my line as support all day. And then it goes. So we're, what do we got left? So we got about half an hour. We'll run this out till noon. And that's what we're going to do each day. So from 9:30 to noon, we'll run it out. So not the best day. I'll go out. Well, we already know the total. Right now I'm down 195. And I don't see another entry, right? If it would have pulled down here and pulled below the mid-level and back up, then I would have an entry now. I have to decide. So I'm still a little negative on the day. Do I want to trade during the redemption period? It's just an option. Again, if I took two losses, if this was a loss and this was a loss, I would look to trade between noon and 4, that redemption period. Let's put on one more trade, see if we can recoup back some of our loss. And typically, it's going to break. If it hasn't broke out by noon, which I would say right now, it hasn't broke out by noon. Why does that look like that? I don't know what's going on with my camera. So again, we look at what's happened so far. Well, we did not get our breakout. Okay, we had a break to the high side, came down, formed a higher low. Nice bullish structure still, barely broke this high. So we still have bullish structure. So we would look or hope that it goes long with the power trade indicator. If you have that on, I know you're seeing buys right now. So you'd look to, what do I want to do? Oh, I'm looking at this other, I'm sorry, I'm looking at my other chart over there. So nothing but sideways movement, right? So since it's sideways, what do we expect? What do we know is going to happen? Not to expect, but what do we know is going to happen at some point? At some point, it is going to break out. It's going to. It's inevitable that at some point, it can't move sideways forever. It will break one way or another. Is it going to do it in the afternoon? Typically, if you don't see it in the morning, before noon, you see it in the afternoon. So that's that redemption period. If I took two losses, I am going. That was the rule I set up for myself doing that back test. If I had no winning trades, I could still be in a negative like I am right now. Right now I'm in the negative 195. That's not the point. If I had no winning trades between 10 a.m. and noon, I would take the first signal during the redemption period, if we get it. Because it has to pull back down in here and hit the midway point, close past it before we get that. So I may not get an entry signal on this one, but typically we would. We got entry signals and was able to take a redemption trade. So that's if you've taken no winners. I did take a winner. We have a loser, winner, made back some of our loss. I'm okay with that on the day, or do I want to take a trade? If it pulls back down in here to the mid-level and then comes down and gives us a sell signal if it crosses the low, or pulls back up and gives us a buy signal across the high, do I want to take that trade? I have to decide. So I've set alarms on the chart so I can, turn the volume up, walk away, carry my phone with me, be alerted when it happens. So I don't have to sit here from noon to 4. And I got to run out at, 3? I don't know. I got to run stuff over the school, baseball stuff. I think he said 3 o'clock. All right, so they are allowed to trade Bitcoin and futures. I thought they were. See? and he ended up telling me they were allowed to have people help them. He was trying to do it on his own with his friends. So, now he's waiting until they're down. What did I say? They're whatever in the class. They're only up 2,000. The winning team right now is up 15,000. So they're a little behind. So now he's asking. He's been doing good, though. I love that he's taken an interest in trading. He doesn't do it every day. He's got, there's girls. He's got baseball. We've had a couple proms here. We got one this weekend. So he's got things going on. And school. And work. So he trades when he wants to. Again, something I'm looking at in particular is where I got stopped out. And I got stopped out over here. Does the pair go to PT2, profit target 2, after it stops me out or not? Again, I would have rather had my stop down here. Okay? Like below that low. This little low plateau area. That's where I'd have rather had the stop. So again, looking at data, looking at what's happening. I know my line's not straight. I don't think any of them's straight. There we go. So looking at the data, I have to look at what happens the rest of the day. If it comes down, continues down, and hits that stop, well, then I got stopped at a better position. So let's stick with our original plan. Moving our stop to break even when it hits PT1. That is less of a loss on my runner, right? I didn't lose anything on the runner. One runner on, 0 profit, 0 loss on it. If I would have had my stop back here, okay, because that's what I'm looking at specifically. Well, if it does nothing but pulls back and hits that, I would have lost some on my runner, where I profited some on on my closed partial, my 2. Okay, so I'd have lost back some more. And if I had my stop here, so that's what I'm looking at specifically on the day. I don't care what it does the rest of the day. If it pulls back down below here and then breaks the top or bottom, I don't see that happening in the next 24 minutes, but maybe it will. So I don't see it signaling in the next 24 minutes. So my decision is, am I going to trade it this afternoon for one more trade? And again, I'm really watching. When you go to analyze moves, this is what you need to do. You need to think about and look at everything. Okay, I moved my stop to break even. I got wicked out. If it would have, on this move up, this bullish push up, if it would have moved to profit target 2, okay, it could move sideways the rest of the day. But if it would have done that, then I'd had to say to myself, yeah, I pulled to break even and got wicked out only for it to go to profit target 2. Okay, just moved it too tight. But that's the plan I made. That's the plan I want to stick with this week. But you better believe that I'm watching to see if it's like, well, do we pull to break even? Or again, do we use a low area like this and say, nope, I want to give it a little room. I'm going to move my stop and keep it under that flat area there. Give it some room. I know and realize that I'm going to lose. That'll be a little negative on the runner. So right now, as it looks to push down, if it hits this line, I know that if I would not have moved my stop to break even, I would have had negative on the runner, which would have took away part of my profit against what I have now. And so I'd be in the negative, maybe 220 or 230 still, or 250. Okay, which just looks like what we're getting. It's getting close. So you can pretty much call it hit. I don't know if I would have put my stop right there. I might have had it right there where it has already hit that level. Okay. But this is something you need to think about as you look at moves. Oh, that coffee's cold. I keep it cold in my office because I'm down here on the north side of the house, and this is on a slab. This part of the house, the rest is on a crawl space, so it stays a little cooler down here. And then I've got several computer machines running with a few things on them that run 24 hours a day. So it's nice to keep this cool. So, pretty much I got stopped out. If I would have had my stop here and gave it a little room. So I would have lost some on the runner. I'm really waiting to see what happens on our alert here. So this is what I was talking about, guys. I'm kind of glad this happened today. This is not a good start for the week, right? This isn't a great start on the week on this strategy, but I'm glad it happened early because I know you guys haven't watched the video yet, probably, because again I didn't get it uploaded until like 2 or 2:30 at night. I think it was about 3 hours. It said it was going to take to process 3 or 3.5. And once I upload it, it takes a while to process the videos because of the quality. What I have on my settings. These videos are huge when you upload them. We're talking like full movie where they're like 10 gig. So it takes time for YouTube to process them. But that's what that bot's for. It'll automatically post in the Discord once it's done processing. So watch that video sometime today or tonight. It'll give you a lot more insight on this. Plus, you'll be able to see the back testing results. Because at the end, I post at the end of the slideshow, all the results are posted in there. And then I do kind of a quick analysis of, again, we're trading. So trading 3 contracts. Every time you get a buy, you're trading 3 contracts. Closing 2 at PT1. Moving your stop to break even. Get it stopped out, most always, unless it runs to the next level. What did it do today? That's all it's done. It entry over here didn't even quite get there. Entry over here finally got up there. That you would close partial like we did, stopped out at break even. It's just sideways after that. So why punish yourself for sitting here? So that's why I'm closing partial. Because by closing partial, if this would have hit, we'd had 2 profitable trades. This one didn't hit. So we took a negative on that, positive on this. Overall, the results on that, with 3 contracts, closing 2 at PT1 and moving a stop to break even, doing it every trade during 10 to noon, and if you had no winning trades during that time frame, doing 1 trade, first signal, during that redemption time of noon to 4 p.m., was $13,000 and something profit. And that's 3 contracts. So if you think about what if you doubled it and did 6 contracts, it's 27,000 something. I don't remember exact numbers. What if you put on 9 contracts instead of 3, so you tripled it? Or what if you went 4 times and put on 12 contracts? You'll see that. Of course, I posted that too at the end. So I'm glad this happened so that you could see it not go the distance. So I'm telling you the truth. But guys, this is what you see a lot. Now it moves faster a lot. It's just not today. We still got about 12 minutes. So hopefully the rest of the week we'll do a little bit more. I tell you what, since we're waiting on this, there's no use in sitting here. I'm going to close the trade panel. When I close this trade panel, it's going to shift my charting over. So the bottom indicator down there at the bottom of the screen where it shows you our loss of $195.50 and unrealized profit right now because we're not in a trade, that is going to shift, I believe, when I shift the charting. So when I close this trade panel, you're going to see the bottom of the chart's going to shift. You won't see those exact numbers. You're going to see the available funds and the order margin is because the whole chart's going to shift. See how I did that? So again, without the trade panel open, with it open, that's where I've adjusted it. So that's our quarter till noon. So again, with the trade panel open, that's what I've got that. I've got that to leave it open all week. Just because we're only watching one thing, we don't need the full screen. And so you'll see the negative and the realized profit and unrealized profit. So again, I'm going to close that right now. So you'll see those disappear as it goes out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of show you guys how I kind of zipped back. So again, it's done in that video. And basically, I'm just going to squeeze in the chart much I can. Let's reset it first. And I've taken off all the text boxes. So you'll see in the video, I've got like a text box here and here. This is very easy. This is what I did. Scroll back. Now I've got two indicators on. You'll see that you can go on back with this indicator. And actually, there's a few of the text box left that I've had data. But it's very easy to go back and backtest this. I don't have to go back and mark up charts. I don't have to go back and go through replay. I can come right back here and I can scroll in to whatever you want to scroll in. Do you want to scroll in here, here? I don't know where you want to scroll in, but I can scroll in and then scroll back out and look at the trades. Okay, look at what happened. Now you'll see there's no vertical lines. I don't have vertical lines all back through here. So that indicator doesn't go all the way back for some reason. And it looks like, what happened? Looks like this changed. So I need to go make sure the setup's on the right time. I know we're set up on the right time here, so why is it on back? It's not. So you'll see where I've got the vertical lines. This is how far I scrolled back to. I scrolled back to the vertical lines, opened back up, and I could quickly see what's happened. And it's not showing, where's my other lines? Oh, that is my other line. All right. So, sorry. Got to get it together. So here's what I'm looking at. This is how easy it is to go back and look at this. You got the indicator on the chart. I've got my vertical lines on the chart. 945. We're going to look to see if you could break out in profit before, if you're using that as a high. Okay. Noon, because we're looking to trade from 10 a.m. to noon. That's it. 10 a.m. to noon or 9:45 to noon. That's it. I want to be done. Want to be out. So look for a trade between those times. Take all signals. Our rules are we're going to take all signals. Okay. If we have no winning trades during the morning session, during those 2 hours, rough day at work, right? Only trading 2 hours. If we have no running trades or we're not in a trade still running, well, then we would take a trade signal during that redemption period of noon to 4 p.m. So I could quickly look back using these tools, right? Okay, so let's go with the 945. 945 high would have been right there. This candle right here closed above 945. So you would have taken that signal, that candle, and yes, your stop would have been halfway between this high, this low, so about in here. So your stop at a halfway point would have been safe. We're looking to see if it was hit, triggered. No, it wasn't. So entry there with the stop at the halfway point definitely goes to 1-to-1 and beyond. I'm not going to say it went to 2-to-1, but it looks like from here to up here, it did go possibly to a 2-to-1 because your stop would have been here, entry here. That looks like it could be a 2-to-1, okay, on there. That you would have, it hit profit target 1, you would have closed 2, and then move your stop to break even. Break even point would have been here, and it did not come back and stop you out, only to hit the other next take profit level. You would have moved your stop up to profit target 1 and then been stopped out over here. So initial trade of closing partial, profit. Profit on runner, take profit. You would have hit PT1 with your runner. Great trade right there. Okay, really didn't go the distance. Now for us getting in at 10, we're getting in on that candle and it doesn't touch. That would have been a loser. Okay. Then you take this second trade. So on my test results, this was a loser. Second trade, you're in short when the candle closes down here. Look at two things. Are you putting your stop at the halfway point or quarter? If you're putting your stop at the halfway point, you stay in during this pullback. If you got in here and put your stop at the quarter mark, which would be halfway between the box low and the midpoint, this quarter area, you would have been stopped out here and taken a loss and had to get back in on this candle. Getting in on this candle then, short, because you put your stop at the quarter loss, you got in, if you look, getting in at this price right here, you got in at a worse price than over here on this trade. Okay, stop at the quarter mark, if that's you, then this would be your third trade. Stop at a quarter mark, and then that one obviously positive. So something with moving the stops, and again, this is covered in the video. We're putting on a trade short, 3 contracts. We're coming down, and at PT1, we're putting on a trade to close. We put a buy limit of 2. Do it so it's mechanical. Put it on there. Don't wait till price gets down there, like here, touches, and you say to yourself, oh, I'm up $200. I'm going to let it all go. I want more, because look what happens. It pulls back, okay? Take profit. You know, they say see profit, take profit. We need to make money on the day to survive, to make money for the month. So that is the only time that when price touches a line, you're going to close anything or move your stop. After that, when it comes down, you're waiting for a candle to close past the line. That was just the hard, fast rule I set for myself. Candle closed past the line, you moved your stop to this level. Now you're waiting. This candle closes past the line. What do? You move your stop to this level. You're trailing one stop back. This candle does not close past the line. Okay? So you haven't moved it yet. This candle does. That candle closes. Move your stop here. This candle wicks. This candle closes past this line. You move your stop here. You got stopped out. Okay? Now, if you wanted to get in on the rest of this game, well, you had to leave your stop looser. About 2.5 levels back. Because 2 levels back wouldn't have been good enough. It closed here, and 2 levels back would be 1, 2. It would have just barely wicked you out too. So in order to stay in for the rest of this move, you would have had to have your stop back 2.5 levels. I'm going with 1 level back. But that's how quick it is to analyze the charts. Scroll over the next day, open it up. There's a buy signal because it barely closed above top. Let's look at the 945. Doesn't matter. 945, right? There's our low. There's our high. Already printed before 945. So you would have still been waiting and getting in on the same entry. Now, this one for me is a big question because yes, we got a buy. Again, like earlier, it closed 1 tick above that. It just barely closed above that. That's your signal. Are you getting in on that? If you are, you took a loss. Okay. No winning trades during the morning session. Right? No winning trades during the morning. And I'm waiting if we get a sound signal. But I don't think we will in the next 6 minutes. So this is what I want to cover now is, again, loss, first loss right here. No winning trades in this first sector because we don't get another signal. What happens? Again, during the first 2 hours here, which is basically between 10 and noon, we don't get a breakout. Okay, what happens? Well, if you don't get a breakout here in the first 2 hours, we'd expect one in the afternoon. Okay, so we get a buy signal in here during the redemption period. That was around 1 o'clock, and you would buy, stop halfway point, does not hit PT1, so you don't get to move your stop to break even yet. Thank goodness, because you'd been wicked out, and then you would have hit several levels in here. As it went, 4 o'clock we're closing. So this is one on the test that I had to take when I did the replay, because again, no profitable trade in the morning. So we take that redemption period trade, and you're only taking one trade, and you're only taking the first one. You're not waiting for the second. So you would have got this and closed out at the 4 o'clock is what I have this other vertical line. Okay. Let's tick over, but it's quick. This is how quick it should be to analyze any strategy. Right here, let's look at this right here. We had a signal here to sell. If you were trading the first 15 minutes, the low is here. The high would be right here. This candle would be your entry. So as you're looking, are you going to be the trader that trades this during the first 15-minute break? You know, you're going to wait for the first 15 minutes, let it get its jitters out of the way, and open up, and then you're going to trade the break of the higher low during the first 15 minutes, or are you going to wait the first half hour? So you want to look at both. That's why we have this vertical line here. That would be your entry. That's your entry if you're the first 15-minute high-low breakout trader. If you're the first half-hour high-low breakout trader, you're taking here. Pretty close in price. Not much different on either trader. Having a stop at the halfway point, stopped out. Okay, you're looking to get back in. This is one that does not give a second signal. It does have a break here. Okay, after you're stopped out, the next time it closed past the low would be your chance to enter. Okay, it didn't signal a sell. Normally we would have a red arrow up here. The reason why it didn't signal a sell is because price did not close above the halfway point. It has to close on this indicator the way they have it. I don't know if there's a way to, I know there's a way to change it, but I haven't looked at the code yet. Again, I just downloaded this on Friday, or just installed on the chart Friday. But that's what I noticed as I went through and traded it yesterday and ran through my analysis on it was candle had to close past the midway point. So if one of these candles would have closed on the other side of the midway point, and then it came back, and you would have got a sell signal here. Now, I'm not going to change it over to a 2-minute or 1-minute chart or 5-minute, but on a 5-minute chart, these 3 candles, these 4 candles in here, whichever ones make up the 5-minute candle, that 5-minute candle may have actually closed above that line, which would give you the sell signal when it crosses back. Also, if you're on a 2 or 1. So I traded on a 3, so it doesn't give me the sell. I have to take the price closing past that, saying, okay, it didn't give me a sell. I'm going to take it anyways. Traditional trading, and I'm trying not to throw a lot of this on the chart. We would have a retracement line across here, for that pullback, because what are we getting? Move down, bearish movement, pullback, breaks the retracement line, and boom, we look for that signal. So I'm not doing that this week. You won't see me do that, but I just kind of wanted to show you that. So again, I'm not sure if there's, well, I know there is. So I'm going to see about if I can tweak it. I'd like to say if price touches this midpoint, because that's what I've seen a lot of, where price will come back and touch it and just not close past it. I want to say if it touches it, then of course, when it closes on the underside of this low, it would give us a sell signal. So I'm going to try and change it, the indicator on my end, so that I want to see that. I want to see if it touches, at least just touches the midline. It pulls back halfway. If it pulls back halfway of this range and then goes back down, I want to see that sell signal. So if you didn't take that signal, losing trade, no redemption period trade, because it never pulls back up into the box. Okay, so you would have had to have taken this one to make it a positive day, and I would have taken that one because again, it pulled over half. It pulled a little over halfway. Okay. Here, let's scroll to the next. I'll do a few of these. This one, redemption trade. It's very simple to look at this. What kind of day did we have? We had 2 losses. We had a redemption trade taken that panned out, that covered one of our losses. Great day. Great day. Not 2 losses and we're done. Not 1 and 2 losses and we're done. Because since we had no winners here during the morning session, we had to take a trade during the redemption period. We took a trade during the redemption period. It went up to hit take profit 1, PT1, and so we closed 2, and then we closed the rest at 4 o'clock p.m. So we basically closed our runner out around the same price as our closing 2. So we closed all 3 here, PT1, and we had 2 losses. So, and this entry right here was right on the line. So that trade is a true 1-to-1. Okay. So stop loss here, here. So we locked in 3 at a true 1-to-1 because over here, this second trade was almost right there at the line. So that would have been a little over 1-to-1 risk. We would have lost back a little more than 1-to-1. So our redemption trading period almost covered this whole second trade. Less of a loss. What started out in the morning, first 2 hours, as being 2 negative trades, now is 1 negative trade. Again, I'd rather end the day with 1 negative trade than 2. That's what the redemption period's for. And that's what I saw during the back test. So you can quickly, again, go back. High, low, 15-minute high, low, doesn't matter. It's the same high, low. There's your low, there's your high. So whether you're a 15-minute breakout trader or half-hour breakout trader, doesn't matter. Your sell signals here. PT1, you close 2. Never closes past PT2, so your stop would be at break even. So you made profit on the 2. Your runner was at a break even. Okay? So you could see how quickly it is. You could do this on any strategy. Go back pretty quick. This one, again, the redemption trade does get to PT 1. So take and look at the entry. So the entry signal was right around the box low. So that and stop at halfway point. Your stop is true 1-to-1. Something I haven't looked at and is something to think about is this. So over here in the morning, I'm trading with taking a buy, taking a sell when it closes past the high low, putting my stop at the half level. Do we need to do that here during the redemption period? That's not something I looked at. That's something I'd want to look at. If I took a trade during the redemption period, okay, like here, would we have needed to use the half loss? And I'd say here, quarter loss, you'd have still been in barely. That's something I'd want to look at. That's only, again, if you have to take the redemption trade period. So let's scroll over. Where are we at? I think we're here. Nope, we're past that. Again, as you can see, it doesn't break and run a lot. First trade here, loser. Buy. It doesn't go to PT1. We're sideways. We're consolidated, right? It pulls back down, stays in here, basically stays in between that range. We get the breakout. Stop would have half stop would have worked, right? Halfway, yeah. Would a quarter stop work? Yes. So as I look forward to analyzing this over the next few days and weeks, that's something I'm going to look at. That's something I didn't really think of and look at. I was looking at it here, my initial trades, or every trade, would a quarter stop or half loss look better? But what I didn't look at was, let's use the half loss in the morning. Then if we have to redemption trade, can we get by using a quarter loss? In case we happen to take a third trade, and that third trade is or second in this case, because we had a losing trade first. But you can see how this one definitely covered. Okay, came down, hit PT1, move your stop to break even. Came down and closed past PT2, you move your stop here. Tap that so we don't move our stop. Okay, again, I'm waiting on a candle to close past these levels. PT1, I want it just to touch my order, close it. But the next ones I'm waiting on it to close past. So this move down, it did not close past or below that level, because if you would have moved your stop just because it touched the level, you'd have your stop here and been stopped out, only to miss 2 more levels of profit. So again, we're waiting on candle to close. Pulls back, closes past, move your stop there. Closes past this level, move your stop here. Closes past this level, move your stop here, you're stopped out. So instead of being stopped out 2 levels back, by waiting on the candle to close past the line, you're stopped out here. So you got 2 more levels of profit on the runner. So great day on this one. But this is how easy it is to go back. I'm not going to go through every day, but you would want to scroll through and just kind of look back. And yes, you have days where this one, early morning trade, hits PT1, stop to break even. You might be stopped out if you pulled your stop, depending on where you pulled it. If you pulled it tight and break even, you're stopped out. If you left a little extra room, you're in. This is one of those that I talked about a little bit ago with today's trade. It hit PT2, and we moved our, if you move your stop to break even, you're stopped out on this because break even's right there. If you give it that little extra room using the box low or high, then you would still be in the trade and catch more profit. So every trader is going to be a little different on this. This one hits PT 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's, where's that at? I'm looking for the rest of her data. It must have jumped. There we go. I'm like, where's the other days? So here, another negative and then positive hits PT1. You'd have been stopped out. So still a losing day, but a little negative. This would have been a small negative day. I'd love to have a lot of small negative days than big ones. Here's one that breaks and runs. 1, 2, 3, 4. It hit 4 PT levels, but before 4 o'clock only hit 3. That's what you have to look at, because if you're trading prop firms, that's where you'd close. All right. So quickly, again, you can go back. First trade here is a loser. Second trade here was a winner. By 4 o'clock, you're closing here. You're stopped out really before all on 4, because you would have trailed your stop. And as you trailed your stop on this pullback, you're out. So good positive trade. Losing trade, the first one at a half loss, but then this move would have covered that entire trade. So positive on the day, not the best day, but positive. Short profit closes past this level, so you'd be stopped out here on your runner. Okay, so closing partial here, runner at the same price point, basically. The runner be stopped. So good on the day, not having to take a trade in the redemption period. And here's the thing. This is why I said you got to watch trade in the redemption period. If we take 2 losing trades in here between the first part of the day, then no winners. Well, that's because it's moving sideways. It popped above, put us in, come back, stopped us out. Pop below, put us in, come back, stop us out. It's sideways, right? If it's sideways, we expect a breakout. If we get the breakout in the morning, we don't expect a breakout in the afternoon. We already broke out here in the morning. Okay, so we've already got our profit. This one, not the best day on it. Buy several buys in here, not even going to profit target 1. Not even hitting it, not hitting it, not hitting it. That's why you have to look to take partial. Good trade, profit target 1, stop at break even, profit target 2 over here. You'd move your stop to 1, and then it hits profit target 3 before 4. Move your stop here at 4 o'clock, you're closing here. So that would have been a great day to trade. This one, profit target 1 is in here. It's under this line. It's under our alarm. That's the one we're in right now. No, that's not the one we're in right now. Looks like our alarm is right there on that level. So this one did hit PT1. Move, stop, break even, stopped out. Positive day. Same here. Get in. PT1's hit. PT2's hit. A close past, let's say. Didn't close past PT3. Runner closed out at 4 or stopped out. And then we're at today. So that's how easy it is to go through and, kind of evaluate what's going on. What I want to do is take off, not that. I'll take off these green lines here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and kill the stream. We went about 10 over, which is fine with me. You know me, I'll talk all day. So far, it doesn't matter. I got stopped out, pulling my stop to break even. That saved me some money. Okay, that saved some because if I would have left it room and had my stop out here to give it a little more room, I still would have been, barely stopped out for it to go up. So how far are you going to leave that? Now, traditionally, when we trade and we enter a trade, we're putting our stop below like a low or high, or in this case, I'm putting a half stop. When we go to our first take profit level, we're typically closing out partial and then moving our stop not to break even, but moving our stop to a half stop level. Okay? So that's how we traditionally will get in. So that may be something that we need to do is, again, I just put this together and just looked at it, but getting in on a trade over here, right? So getting in on this trade, having our stop, there's our entry. We have our stop at the half point, or the halfway of the box, right? But that's our stop. So we would pull our target tool, and typically on our target tool, when the first level's touched, we move our stop at least to the halfway point, okay? So that is something I'm going to be looking at, is how many times do I get stopped out by moving the stop to the break even? Okay, so stop's originally here. How many times does this happen where it comes back to stop me out at break even on the runner only to move further? Or when it pulls back to stop me out at break even on the runner, does it typically just phase out the rest of the day? And I'm glad I was at break even. Okay? Which one works out more often? I don't know right now. Right now we've got to test it. So I'm probably going to go back and run another test, and I am on further data, and I'll have to take that into consideration if I move my stop to halfway of that entry price, or am I in when it pulls back and then shoots through the roof, or do I miss those moves? All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed today. That is what we're going to do this week. We're going to trade this same setup every morning. So not a great start. We're down $195. I'm okay with that. We had one trade that was a loser, full, loss as far as I'm concerned with my trade. And then the second trade, we covered part of that loss. So I'm okay with that. Still small loss on the day. We've still got 30 days, right? You got a month to run it through. want to see where we are at the end of the month. I don't look at today and say, it's a loss, done with this strategy. Let me throw some moving averages on the chart. Trade those tomorrow, and then trade them for a week, and then say, well, I'm done with that. It doesn't work. Let me throw MACD and CCI on the chart, or RSI, or the Donchian channel. I mean, just, it's not wise to sit there and trade. You're going to spend, next thing you know, you wake up 6 months from now or a year from now and you've done nothing but tried a bunch of different strategies. So they all work. It's just a matter of making them work, and making them work consistently and for you. So one of my twists is, of course, closing partial. I never really liked this breakout on things that don't tend to run. Again, because it's Nasdaq and we typically barely get it moving, you look and today it's just hammered that area. I mean, it has done nothing but hit that first line. Next to it, hit it, close past it, but back down under it. It's just toyed around with you all day. So I will look for a trade, and I have to decide that. Am I going to take a trade on the day, or am I fine with just saying, because I think we were up about, or the negative was like 365, I want to say, or 68. So now that we're only down 198, we recovered part of that by the second trade. So we did have one profitable trade. And the rule of thumb is if you have no winning trades, then you look for one in the afternoon. So I have to decide, am I going to trade if I get a signal in the afternoon or not? That's all on me. And it could be a loss, or I could just sit out and say, nope, I'm done. We had our one profitable trade in the first 2 hours. We're going to sit with that this week and not trade during the redemption period, right? So I'll be back. We'll start this up again tomorrow at 9:30 so we can kind of preset for the day and watch to see if we get that 9:45 breakout or the 10 o'clock breakout. So which is better? So for today, again, if you would have taken that 9:45 break, then that trader profited early, like the next two within 6 minutes. Quickly went to PT1. If you closed partial and had your stop at break even, you would have got stopped out quickly, but it would have been a good positive trade. And then you would have re-entered on another entry, and that one actually would have been negative, or you would have stopped at the end of the day. But we said we were going to take all of them. All right, so I'll see you guys tomorrow. Don't forget, this week will be mornings, Nasdaq only, doing this strategy, and then the next 3 weeks will be in the evening, and then after that we'll be back to mornings again, right? So everybody have a good day. Don't overtrade. Live with what you get. Like I said, right now today, $195 loss is great. I think I was, like I said, 365, 368, almost 400, and now we're at 198. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with gaining part of our loss back, okay, what we lost, and gaining that back by taking that second trade. You can't help it if it doesn't move. If it does not move and run for you, that is not your fault, okay? And it looks like it's trying to break that high right now. So that remains to be seen. I'll be watching it, because if it just breaks and runs, then what am I going to say to myself? Remember, I talked about moving my stop, and I moved to break even, or moving it to the quarter, halfway between my stop area and the entry. This was what I entered on. This is where my stop was. If I would have moved it to the halfway point, I'd still be in right now. Okay? So if this keeps running, again, I'm not going to kick myself because I missed it. I'm going to adapt my trade style because I missed it. That's what you want to do. Don't sit there. Too many people sit there and they're like, man, I wish I would have just moved my stop to the halfway between where it originally was and my entry price instead of moving to break even. I moved to break even. I got stopped out. No gains on my winners. It's up here at PT2, and you go, man, if I would have only moved my stop to halfway between where it originally was and the entry price, I'd still be in that. My runner would be up in profit. And then hitting it there, I could move my stop up, and at least I'm profiting more. And then it goes and hits level 3. So instead of kicking yourself saying, I wish I woulda, I coulda, I wish I woulda, instead of saying that, say, okay, I might need to change my strategy as far as when I move my stop to break even, and adapt your trading rules to fit what you're seeing, the market. What is the market telling you? What is the market showing you? Right now, it hasn't shown me much. If it goes up and hits PT2 and PT3, then it's showing me a lot. Then that is showing me that I should have just left my stop down here and moved it partially to cover, okay? But again, that may work today if it hits PT2 and 3, but does it work over time? That's your kicker. Or do you lose back negative part of that trade on that one runner? You're still going to cover your 2 that you close, especially if you get into more contracts. If you get into where you're trading 6 and closing out 4 and leaving 2 runners, well, then these 4 that you close out, or 2 that you close out in this case, will cover that that loss on the runner as you've pulled your stop partially. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed, and I will end this. And